She stepped too close. That's where she lost. She ripped the permit, right in front of him. Marcus didn't blink. He stepped forward, just enough to catch the falling sheet. Then, he looked up, not with anger, with precision. That kind of look that makes you wish you hadn't touched the paper at all. And by then, it's already too late. He didn't move to argue. He moved to position. The wind caught the edge of the permit. He didn't look at her. He watched where the paper landed. Third flagstone from the curb. That one was replaced last month, slightly darker than the rest, directly beneath the corner camera. She didn't see it. She was still speaking like it mattered. Marcus reached into his jacket. Not fast, not secretive, just routine. One folded page, one red marker. He didn't open it, not yet. 3 weeks ago, he requested boundary reaffirmation from the county clerk. No one else knew. He scheduled it for today, 10 a.m. The moment the tow truck arrived, clipboard Karen thought she was winning. That was the point. Let her climb, let her raise her voice, let the neighbors gather. She crossed the line the moment she tore that paper. But he wouldn't stop her, not yet. Because some violations don't need to be stopped, they need to be seen. She didn't knock. She peeled the warning off her clipboard. The paper made a soft tear, like skin coming off the wall. She walked with her heels aligned to the property line, didn't glance at the sign, didn't ask. Just pulled it up from the dirt, one clean motion, both hands, like she'd done it before. She shook the dirt off, held it up toward the sun, as if sunlight could override ownership. Then came the new stake. She drove it in with the side of her heel. No mallet, no effort, just authority pretending to be law. The metal plate gleamed. Temporary community hold, pending compliance review. Marcus watched the pole lean, then settle. It tilted slightly east. Exactly 3 degrees. He didn't say a word, but his hand reached for his phone. No unlock, no message, just tapped the screen. Once. A blink of red in the reflection. Recording. She stepped back, looked at her own work, nodded to no one. The clipboard snapped shut, too loud for the silence. Marcus's eyes didn't follow her. They paused on the stake, then scanned the sidewalk, stopped at the curb. A scuff mark. A boot print. Crossed over the paint line he refreshed last Thursday. He shifted his weight, barely, but enough. Enough to face the sun, enough to let the camera catch her name tag. The first move was made, but the board wasn't hers. Sometimes it's not about who's right, it's about who remembers what was forgotten. Maybe you've seen this before. Maybe you've stood there too, silent but certain. If this story found you at the right time, you can leave something behind below. We'll be here. She came back with paint, not red, not white. The same dull beige used for HOA curbs. She didn't ask, just lifted the brush and painted over his boundary marker. 2 strokes, then a third, slow. Like erasing history was part of her job. Marcus didn't move. He didn't need to. That color was Regulation Code 811-B. It only applied to shared lots. She rolled the brush again, reached the 4th corner, marked it too, then stepped back like she'd corrected something. A man watering his hedge looked up, stopped, didn't wave. Another door closed without the usual "Morning, Marcus." She unrolled new tape, yellow, printed with "Pending Committee Evaluation." Looped it through his gate latch. 1 knot, tight, visible from the street. He opened the lock without touching the tape, swung the gate just enough for it to tear. Not loud, just enough to leave a frayed edge. She watched, didn't speak. Wrote something on her clipboard. Marcus picked up his glove from the porch rail. Except it wasn't there. It had been moved, set neatly on the other post, under the new sign. The logo had changed. Now it read, Zone 3, under transitional oversight. He paused. 1 breath, eyes steady. Then turned the glove over. Found a small sticker. Barcode. Date stamped this morning. She hadn't come alone. She hadn't come unplanned. He reached down, brushed the sticker off, folded the glove in half, set it back where it was, then looked to the street. To the man still holding the hose but no longer watering anything. A nod passed between them. Not loud, but unmistakable. The counterattack had begun. She just hadn't noticed yet. He bent down, picked up a folder that wasn't supposed to be there. 3 papers, stamped, highlighted, folded once. He didn't hand them out, just laid them flat on the community table. Right before the meeting began, the title read, Exempt Parcel Documentation, Lot 46, filed 1986. Someone coughed, someone else squinted. Karen arrived late, saw the file, laughed, called it irrelevant, called it obsolete. He didn't respond, just turned to Mrs. Dalton, asked calmly, "Didn't your husband build that fence line with my father?" Her hands froze. She blinked, then nodded. The room shifted, not loudly, but definitively. Karen stepped forward, fingers tight on her clipboard. She started to explain, but Marcus raised his hand, palm flat. Nothing hostile, just one sentence. "If this land was never signed over, who gave you permission?" No answer, just the sound of a pen clicking, twice, in her own hand. That's when the maintenance supervisor stood up. Neutral until now, but not today. He pointed at the boundary pole, then at the meeting packet, then said, "That label was changed this morning, but not by my team." Silence. Karen looked around. No one met her eyes. Marcus leaned back, folded the folder, slid it back into his coat. One move, 2 effects. She lost the room. He gained the next 5 minutes. She raised the letter. Rule 12. Obstruction of community access. She read it twice, loud. So even the gardener paused mid-rake. The yellow tape went back up, twice around the mailbox, a 3rd loop through the gate. Then she turned to the crowd, smiled, like she'd just won. Marcus stepped forward, didn't look at her, just unfolded a thin brown-edged sheet. The sunlight hit it sideways, just enough to read, Original Land Use Filing, 1986. No one moved. He placed the sheet on the hood of her car, right next to the warning letter, then pointed once at the corner stamp. For Taylor family use only, outside HOA jurisdiction. Karen hesitated, squinted, whispered something. That's when the old man spoke, from the 2nd row, limping forward with a cane he hadn't used in years. He didn't look at Marcus, didn't need to. Just tapped the edge of the map, said 6 words. "Your father built this pond. With mine." Someone gasped. A child stopped chewing. Even the HOA treasurer's pen froze mid-click. Karen started to respond. But the maintenance man stepped out. Camera still clipped to his vest. He lifted the camera, didn't say a word, just turned the lens slightly toward the yellow tape, zoomed in, on the tag. Unauthorized enforcement mark, no violation registered. Karen looked down, realized she had reused an old tag from a different case. The corner of the warning letter curled, lifted by a passing breeze. Marcus didn't touch it, didn't speak, just turned, walked back toward the steps, and with one hand, opened the mailbox. Inside was another folder, still sealed, still clean, but labeled, to be opened if challenged again. The wind pushed across the pond, leaves turned, the rope on the old stake flapped twice. Marcus stepped over the yellow tape, didn't rip it, just untied the knot, loop by loop, like unwinding someone else's mistake. He carried a wooden board under one arm, weathered, not new, but still legible. He knelt down, slid the board into the same groove it once belonged, pressed it flat. The corner cracked, but the words remained. Parcel 46, Taylor easement. A group of neighbors stood across the street. No one spoke, but not one turned away. Karen watched from her car, window down, hands gripping the wheel like it might float away. She didn't shout, didn't ask, just sat. Marcus stood up, brushed dust from his hands, and walked back inside. No look back. Only the little boy, again, pointed at the board, asked, "Mommy, who's Taylor?" She didn't answer, just stared, as if the answer was too old to say aloud. Near the steps, the flower bush rustled. Something stuck underneath. A crumpled page, still red stamped. Approved, Mr. Taylor. No one picked it up. No one needed to. The sun dropped half a degree. The wind slowed. The board didn't move. And in that silence, nothing changed. Except the fact that no one would ever try again. Not everything has to be public. Just leave it where it was meant to stay. And suddenly, No one dares to move it again. The wind shifted. Not much. Just enough to rustle the dry leaves caught in the corner of the fence. The sign didn't move, but the light did. Fell across it gently, like a hand brushing dust off a forgotten photo. No footsteps, no voices, only the sound of water lapping quietly at the far edge of the land. The board remained tilted, still imperfect, still right. Someone had tied a ribbon to the gatepost. Not new, faded blue. Might have been there for years. It flapped once, then again, and then settled. In the yard, the chair was still empty, but turned slightly, as if someone had just gotten up, but left the seat warm for whoever came next. Nothing had changed, but something had returned. A rhythm, a memory, a kind of balance that doesn't make noise, but fills the space it belongs to. No one asked where the board came from. No one dared move it again. People remembered less what the paper said, and more how quiet he stood when it was torn. That's the thing about certain people. They don't speak to win, they just wait, and place things exactly where they were meant to be. There's a kind of strength that never leaves a bruise, only a pause, a silence, a feeling that maybe, just maybe, you've stepped where you shouldn't. Some things don't need permission or applause. They just need to be left alone, preserved, respected, because someone kept them long before anyone else noticed. There are some things that don't need to be fought over, as long as you can keep your reason and your composure.